Hello there, it's Cassie. Welcome back for another Brutus Monroe video. Today I'm going to be focusing on the Flower Burst die, which is the subscription die of the month. And this is a gorgeous, intricate die. It's just stunning. And I love these cover plate dies because they cover the entire front of an A2 size card. We're also going to be using this stamp set, which is the Extra Sentimental stamp set. Mine is well loved, as you can tell. So that's going to be our sentiment for the day. And we're going to be using these cardstocks, Key Lime, Rouge, and Slate. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I've cut down a piece of that Key Lime cardstock to be about 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. I'm inking up the Hello stamp from Extra Sentimental using some later Gator Hurley Create ink, and I'm just going to stamp that all over that background. This is going to be in the very far background, and it's only just going to add some interest to the card. You probably won't even be able to really read what it says, but it just adds a little something there, and that's why I'm not too concerned about whether or not I'm getting things straight or not. Next, I've taken that cover plate die and I have run that over that Rouge cardstock, and now I'm just kind of getting all those little pieces out of it using this little Spellbinders tool. Brutus Monroe does have die release sheets that are supposed to work really beautifully with your die cuts, the intricate ones. They put a special coating on the die cut once you've run that through your die cutting machine, and it makes getting all the little pieces out a total breeze. So here I've cut it out 3 different times. I did use a metal shim on those 2 pieces that you see where all the pieces are completely cut out, and obviously there's one where there aren't a lot of pieces, but that's okay, I don't need that. So moving on, I am fussy cutting. I know some of you are probably like cringing, but I am going to fussy cut out the little star bursts themselves, or the flower bursts themselves. I love to take the dies, the cover plate dies, and find little pieces in there that I can cut out and really make my die cuts pop. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to take all 5 of those flower bursts and I'm going to trim around them. And it's super, super simple. You just kind of line your scissors up. I'm using my Brutus Monroe scissors, and I'm just going to trim around all the flowers. And it's very, very forgiving. It doesn't take really that much time. And yeah, I'm not even concerned about the border because that's what my second gray or slate piece is for. So now I'm working on the middle, and I'm just kind of trying to be careful going around that one. And once I get that all cut, then I can move on to cutting the border on that other slate piece. There is another option. If you didn't want to cut this out the way I'm cutting it out, you can either put it in your paper cutter and you can trim it out that way, or you can just cut out a couple of rectangles using your either some die cuts or something along those lines. That would work basically the same way, but I wanted to show you that you could do it this way. So I'll just take some of my glue, and I'm going to put it all around the edges of each of the little flower bursts. And then on the centers, I'm just going to focus on a few little pieces that I thought might pop up, but I'm clearly not that concerned about it popping up too much. So I'm just going to start lining those up on the slate piece that I have. And right now, it just doesn't look great. You know, it looks okay. But once I get that border down, which I will here in a second, it's really going to pop and it's going to look pretty good. So I'll line up the final flower burst, and then I'll grab my border and I'll glue it down pretty much the exact way, just using that same glue. And it just makes those pink or the Rouge flower bursts recessed a bit, which is really pretty cool. And it's another way to take your die to the next level. You can just, there's so many things that you can do with these cover plate dies, but here's just one more to add to your arsenal. And then when that's all ready to go, I'm going to attach this down to the key lime piece that I stamped earlier. And once again, I'm not going to completely cover that background. I'm just putting little dots of glue in various places. And then I'll stick that right down on top. So see, you really can't read what it says back there, but you can definitely tell that there's something going on. And I like that. My card base is going to be some of your Not Your Mama's heavyweight cardstock. This is a 130-pound cardstock. And so when I go to score it, I'm going to score it on the front and on the back. This is a side folding A2 size card, so I did score it at 4 1/4 inches. And then I'll stamp my sentiment, which is the hello again, but I'm going to stamp it on a scrap piece of white cardstock with that later Gator Hurley ink. And then I'll grab out my guillotine trimmer, which is what I've been using this whole time basically. And I'll trim that down. And all I do is I line that up, like line up the end pieces with the edge of the plastic piece so I can see right through. And that usually gives me a pretty straight line. I want my sentiment to have a fishtail banner or a flag banner, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to trim right into the center, and then I'll have those edges meet right up into that, so that way it's fairly lined up. And then I decide I need a little bit more trimmed off on that right hand side, so I'll bring in the guillotine trimmer one more time and just trim off a little bit more. And then we'll use our same liquid glue to adhere this down to the front. And you could jazz this up with some prism sequins or something like that, but I decide to leave it fairly plain, and I don't stamp on the inside, mostly because I want this to be one of those types of cards where I can send it off to a loved one, somebody that I haven't talked to in a while, and I can just write, and I have plenty of room to do so. So once that's attached to the front, that is actually going to finish off our card. I love that die plate. It's so beautiful, and it is a part of the subscription. So I will have everything linked down below that I used. If you liked this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, I will see you very soon in another video. Bye, everybody.